Good evening, everyone. This is Brad Ryan, and this is another episode of the Brief Nerdy podcast. Joining once again is my good friend and co-host Trent.
Hello.
And no one else, just us two this week.
Party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Party of two.
Yeah. Just a normal November 6th party.
That's right. But yeah, we had a last minute, not really last minute, but we had an unfortunate cancellation, so it is just the two of us today.
Jeez, way to throw TJ under the bus.
Well, I mean, who are they going to assume wasn't here? I wonder.
Man. But no,
I mean,
I'm the one who should be throwing myself under the bus because Trent's like, hey, let's invite this person. But I'm like, nah, let's just do us two.
It was, yeah. I mean, who could replace TJ?
The wonderful, magnificent, marvelous TJ.
There is no one.
He's the glue that holds us all together. This is going to be the worst podcast ever.
Prepare yourselves. But no, I had a really good week. How about you?
It was a wonderful week.
So much stuff.
Mm-hmm. And let's get talking about it. So, what you been playing? Or we got a round robin. Round robin this stuff.
After a great start. So this week's, we've been talking about it for a long time, and I feel bad. I think this is one of TJ's ideas that we're going to do when he's not here again. But it's worst game you have ever, quote unquote, finished.
It's actually my idea. Not that I don't really care, but it's because I am the one who is a masochist and 99.9% of the time finishes every game he plays.
Right.
It's rare that I could stop a game, and so I've finished many games that I hated from start to finish, but I finished them anyways. And I was like, I hate you so much after I was done. So I thought, hey, this might be a fun one to do. So
there you go.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. See, this was really, really hard for me because I don't have a problem absolutely just throwing away games that I don't like. $60 games I play for an hour. I'm like, nope, and I'm done. But
or Mario plus Rabbit.
I will go back to it eventually. I gotta let XCOM settle and become a memory, and then I'll get back to Mario Rabbids. I really don't like the Rabbids. But anyway, so it was really difficult for me. This one is also kind of hard because there is really no like quote unquote finish, but I played far enough into it that I can consider myself like I've reached the end game, and that's SimCity, which was
fair play.
EA remake-ish kind of relaunch. I don't remember what year it was. It's past, I don't know, 5-6 years probably. It's a pretty good game, but it had so many problems. Like it had all those server problems when it was launching, and it's a single-player game, and people were really, really mad that they couldn't play because there was like launch day server issues, and EA's like, you gotta be online, but our servers are gonna F you.
Wasn't there also a thing where they said like it'd be super hard to change the structure of the game to work in an offline mode, and then like modders like did it in like 24 hours after they said that?
Yeah, something like that happened. I don't understand. Like, I mean, you can compare cities with your friends and stuff, but like, there's really not a lot of multiplayer aspects to that game, and there might be now, but
yeah. But why play that when you can play Cities Skylines?
Well, that was my final point, is that it
sorry, I took it from you.
No, you're fine. I'll just embellish on it. It came along, and then it was completely destroyed by an indie studio which had some of the original creators of SimCity, and who made
Cities Skylines is so good.
And it is almost every way that it's just ridiculous. So
yep. I love that game.
If you want to play a city sim game, you should play City Skylines.
It's only like $10-15, right? Even
I think so. They came out with another pack recently for like disasters and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that was a free update. I will tell you here in a second, but you tell me.
The cool thing about it is the coolest thing, in my opinion, about it is that they totally like made the game easy to mod and through Steam Workshop. Mm-hmm. So like, being a hardcore Mass Effect fan, one of the first things I did, I was like search Mass Effect in the shop, and there's like totally like so many like uh, monuments. Is that the right word I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Monuments, like a giant reaper, just sitting in my city. I was just like hee hee the entire time, and so like the game is fully moddable, and again, just as simple as going to the Steam Workshop and searching for something and being like, oh look, there's all this cool stuff. So
Nice. So the base game right now is $30 on Steam. You can get the deluxe edition for $40. Don't know what that gives you.
I remember getting it for much less, like at least around like 20-30, but maybe it was a sale.
Well, it goes on sale a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty much every major sale, which for Steam's feels like every other weekend. And then you can get like the pack that gives you like everything, all of their extra stuff, like the After Dark, the Snowfall, the Art Deco, all this stuff, for like $70 or something. That's like 8 expansion packs to go with it. So that's pretty cool.
It's going to reach Sims territory where you have to pay like $30,000 to get all the content.
Oh, speaking of Sims, now we'll talk about that in a little bit.
That's fine. I've actually been really wanting to get into The Sims lately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's like between it and Stardew Valley, which I haven't played yet, and I haven't played Sims 4 either yet.
As much as I love The Sims, you should play Stardew Valley.
I know.
Hands
but
down.
well, I want to play them both, but I know that they're both just going to be a extreme time suck for me.
Yeah.
And so, you know me, I'm kind of one to hop between one game and another. I play a game and I finish it, and I kind of move on to another thing. And so when I think about the fact I'm going to want to play The Sims or Stardew Valley, like I know it's going to be like a month of my gaming time, so to speak. And
That's
so,
fair. If you've got any trips coming up, you should get Stardew Valley for the Switch and play it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that's on the Switch, but I have it on PC and I have a Surface Pro, and that could definitely play Stardew Valley.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Never mind.
and then my cloud saves and PC all work and stuff like that. But yeah, like so, it's on my list. I really want to play Stardew. It's like I gotta plan it out in the calendar, and especially with right now, I have so many games to play and that are coming out that there's no room on the schedule currently for it, at least not right now.
Yeah.
So
I haven't played it since it first came out, and there's been a ton of updates since. And so at some point, I don't know if I want to wait all the way till the multiplayer mod, but at some point, I'm definitely getting back into Stardew Valley again.
Yeah, and I want to get into it before the multiplayer mod, so I can at least be familiar with the game going into it before I start playing with friends.
Yeah, there you go.
So at some point, probably soon, since the multiplayer mod is probably coming out soon. But we'll see. But
well, a little bit of news, which while we're here, they've announced that the multiplayer mod is likely going to come out for the Switch before PC.
Yes,
which is
that's
very
cool.
Interesting.
That's cool. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for Switch users. I love the Switch. So.
Me too. All right. What is the worst game that you have ever finished?
This might be semi-controversial, or people will be like, duh. But I'm going to say the original Assassin's Creed. That is a crappy, very crappy game. It is so bad. I have no idea how it jump-started like Ubisoft's biggest franchise. That's now, multi-billion-dollar franchise that makes movies and stuff like that. Because that first game was atrocious.
Bad movies.
It's still a movie. They made it to a movie.
That's true.
But man, that game stuck so bad. I mean,
Well,
even at probably
to the movie will just be so much better and be like incredible.
And that's the thing. Like, one thing. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But about why Assassin's Creed 1 sucks so bad. So I don't know. It just really, really sucks. Even at probably the peak of when I was a poor college student, I couldn't afford a ton of games. But even then, I had to stop about like halfway through it. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And I don't want to say that's like the peak of like the time period where I couldn't finish a game, but it was probably close to where like I finished everything. And so I finished that, and I was like, that is one of the worst games, if not the worst game I've ever played in my entire life.
Wow.
So,
that's intense.
But the funny thing is, I didn't finish it. But then there's a time where I worked a job where I worked at home in a kind of work at home call center, and so I would get to the point where I would be playing just lots of
random video games that I could kind of only semi pay attention to while I was working. And so
Nice.
I also got in my head that I wanted to hit 100,000 gamer score on Xbox. And so I was like, okay, what could I like do or play that doesn't require a ton of attention and that will enable me to finish games quickly and get easy gamer score, so to speak. And then that's when Assassin's Creed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish it. So I popped it back in and then I finished it, a few years later.
Nice.
So, and that is actually probably one of the poster childs for why I like to finish games, even if I hate them, because if I would have stopped there, I would have been missing out on, a good handful of great Assassin's Creed games, because just right after it, Assassin's Creed 2 and then Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the one following it, were phenomenal games. It's funny how they just did a complete 180 from a game that I was like, man, this is complete and utter BS of a video game to turn to something like, wow, this is actually really, really good.
Brotherhood was the third of the Ezio trilogy, right?
Second. The third game period, second of the Ezio trilogy. Revelations was the third of the Ezio trilogy.
Okay.
And the fourth game. And then they made Assassin's Creed 3. It all makes sense.
Yeah. It's like 2, 2.4, 2.8, and then 3.
Yep. And 3 was bad, but then 4 was good, and then Unity was bad, and then I thought, not the newest one that just came out, but the 2-year-old one now at this point. I even forgot what it was called. The British one. That was good too. But
have you played all of them then?
Yes. All the mainline series ones now.
Oy. I've thought about getting into it, but it keeps getting more and more like a time sink. But you can buy the early ones for like $5, so it's like.
Well, yeah. The good thing is that now after Assassin's Creed 3, they are pretty much completely standalone titles. There's either none or very, very little of an overarching story between them at all. I mean, you could completely miss, ones and jump into another and not feel like you're missing out on anything.
Do you like that, or do you wish that it had more? See, I'm a real sucker for like super long overarching stories.
I liked it originally when they did the Ezio trilogy, so to speak, or at least between Assassin's Creed 1 and the Ezio trilogy and Assassin's Creed 3. Those had a modern day storyline that was continuous between them, and then it kind of wrapped that up. And then, do you know anything about that story?
I know a little bit, but I don't know how it ends.
Yeah, well, they wrapped it up, and then like when Assassin's Creed 4 came out, it's just like you're some random guy, and like some of the characters from that story like appear and like talk to you or on like a comm every now and then. I think in 4, if I'm remembering correctly, you're literally like a game developer and making the pirate themed Assassin's Creed video game, and then stuff like that. But anyway, it's not good, the overarching modern day storyline, and so like I don't think people liked it too much. And then like I think with the newest one, not the Egypt one, but the one before that, like it literally like the game started with like a 30-second cutscene, like, hey, we need you to go in the Anubis and get some information for us. Okay, bye. and then popped up at the end. Okay, thanks for that. Oh man, the bad guys are coming to get us. Thanks for what you've done. We'll see you next time, like kind of thing. And so, like, they kind of like just don't acknowledge it whatsoever anymore. Which
just too bad, because I remember originally thinking about how cool it would be for like a modern time Assassin's Creed game, like in New York, or LA, or something.
And they were working it up towards that too, eventually. But I think that at the time, just people didn't like the modern storyline, so they kind of just chucked it out.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Because
ignoring it just defeats so much of their original premise.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think if they did it well, it would be good. But I think just the fans of that series, legit hardcore fans, just generally don't like it. So they kind of ignore it. I've heard the new one. I don't know how much it takes place in like modern day time, if any, because I don't know much about it. But I do know they have said that some of the events of the Egyptian timeline or stuff that happens there like connects with it. So I don't know how that works out.
Cool.
Yet. I'll play Assassin's Creed Origins when it's on sale, but it's not a game like I want to pay $60 for, because as good as a lot of them are, it's still just kind of that open worldy stuff that I'm kind of sick of right now, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, you just got burnt out by Horizon, so
Yeah. So I'll play it probably early next year, Q1 or so.
there you go. Cool. So what are you playing right now?
Mario Odyssey.
Still?
Not anymore. Just last night, I reached 100% completion on it.
Dang.
I have every moon, every single purple coin. I've purchased
a week and a day, a week and 2 days.
No, yeah, it's including 2 weekends though. But yeah,
That's true.
it's like 10 days, 2 weekends. One of them was a 3-day weekend where. Yeah,
Making me feel bad about myself over here.
that's okay. But yeah, I got 999 moons. 880 of them are collectible, and the rest of them you just have to purchase. I was just going to be.
I thought you said
What?
these numbers were spoilers.
Yeah, too bad.
Damn.
It's been 10 days. It's good.
Wow.
But well, the reason I said that is because I stopped at 880 thinking that was it, but then someone kind of mentioned, nope, you get something if you get to 999. I'm like, well, crap, I gotta grind to get some coins so I could buy more moons.
You just read that one level over and over again.
Yep. Well, I actually played the game in portable mode. I was just watching a show with Maggie, and I just ran the single bonus stage like over and over and over again, getting a ton of coins in portable mode while watching a show. So, like, you literally don't have to control Mario in it because you just grab like a fire or a flower that makes you run really fast, and he just runs in a straight line. So, didn't require a lot of thought or paying attention.
Cool.
But anyway, like, I just wanted to gush a little bit about Mario Odyssey. I mean, it's apparent that I absolutely love it. Not only is it, I've already given it the Game of the Year 2017 award because I think Battlefront would be good, but not as good, not nearly as good. Because not only is it Game of the Year for me 2017, it's one of the best video games I've ever played in my entire life. I'm having debates in my head whether or not it's better than Mario 64, which is saying something considered, Mario 64 is one of those games I just never ever thought would be beat as far as the 3D platformer Mario. I mean, Mario World is my favorite Mario game, period, but Mario 64, did something truly unique and special, especially for its time.
Yeah.
When I think back about my favorite Zelda games, like it's Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time are my two favorite Zelda games, and no other Zelda has even come close. Not even my number 3 pick is for favorite Zelda game, which is Wind Waker. It's still a great game, but that doesn't even come close to touching Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. And so I could just kind of assume in my own mind that they're never ever going to be beat. And I kind of made the same assumption for Super Mario World and Super Mario 64. But the fact that Odyssey has come close, if not surpassed it, only time will tell as I have the opportunity to digest it some more. But it's a super phenomenal game. I think every one of our listeners needs to buy a Switch and play it.
I agree. I'm not nearly as far into it as you are, but what I have played is super fun, and I keep going back to it, every other day or so. So, got a little frustrated with the stupid vulture dude who stole my hat because he's a jerk. And took me a while to you had to tell me how to get it back finally, because I was just like, I hate the stupid game. But
it's funny how neutered you feel without your hat all of a sudden.
I know, like, you get so used to like the hat powers, and then all of a sudden you're without it. You're like, oh wait, I can't play a whole game without hat powers.
I just have to run and jump like a normal Mario game. What?
It's like a baby's toy. No, it's kidding. But yeah, so yes, join in the gushing. I'm sure TJ will have more gushing next week. I've super enjoyed everything. The boss mechanics are really fun. They're not like 100% obvious, but they're intuitive enough that you can figure it out. Like I've had a couple of boss mechanics that legitimately like surprised me, which was fun. Like the ancient temple ruins one was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you've been waiting for like the game to buy that'll justify a Switch purchase, this is it. This is 100% it.
Yep. It's totally worth like the $350, $400 you'd spend to get the Switch and it.
And you can get the new bundle with the Mario Red Joy-Cons, which I totally wish I had.
Yeah, they're cool. I like it. I like black though, so
I do too, but I wish like I want to collect them.
yeah. Hopefully they'll sell them as individual Joy-Cons at some point.
Yeah, probably get them on eBay or something. But.
Yeah, that's true. Just kind of one additional thing as far as Mario goes. With the, I don't want to say it's been a crappy year because it hasn't. There's been gems like Resident Evil 7, and I really enjoyed Prey and things like that. But in a lot of other aspects of gaming, it's been a little bit of a rough year for me. Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't reach my expectations. I know it did for many, many, many people. And even though it was a great game, I wanted something different from a Legend of Zelda title. So there was that. Not to mention the gigantic disappointment that was Mass Effect Andromeda overall. Not a bad game, but still just a disappointment, and caused the Mass Effect series to be put on ice for an inevitable amount of time. You playing games like Far Cry Primal and Horizon Zero Dawn and just like almost just flipping out on how generic and boring most open world games are, and how that's pretty much all we get, quote unquote, all we get nowadays. And then just playing games like Hollow Knight that people have been gushing about and loving, and I'm just like, oh, this is okay, I guess. And then just me kind of wondering, like, hey, like, what's happening to me? What's wrong with me? Why can I not enjoy these games as much as I used to? Is it me? Is there something wrong with me? Am I not feeling it when it comes to games anymore, or is just the industry heading in a direction that doesn't quite sync with me and my own taste? It was a lot of feelings and emotions like that were going through my head several months this year.
Having a midlife gamer crisis.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's kind of why I was freaking out so bad, Trent, as you know, with that whole Star Wars Visceral getting shut down announcement, single player games are dead. Stuff that was going on about a month ago. That was just the culmination of all that frustration I had been having, and then that was so looking forward to that game, and then just the fact that EA canceled it, and then the statement they made with it was just disgusting, in my opinion. That with all the loot box BS that's been going on, I was just in a rough place gaming wise. But
no,
Mario Odyssey, I mean it's kind of like extreme first world problem. My video games aren't as fun as they used to be. So my life in general is great, so don't get me wrong there. But Super Mario Odyssey was the injection I needed, because I don't want to say never in my life, but at least the feeling I get is magnified because of other recent gaming events. But just the amount of pure joy this game has in it just elated me completely.
Yay.
And so I absolutely adore this game. I love this game. Seriously, one of the best video games ever made, and I really hope you all can play it. That's why I had to 100% it, because I wanted to squeeze every ounce I could from it. And it was just, I mean, you laughed that I finished it in 10 days and 100% it in 10 days, but it was just one of those games where every moment I wasn't playing it, I wanted to be playing it. And it's extremely rare that happens for me. So,
well, good. I'm really happy.
The end. Thank you.
I look forward to. I mean, there's a lot of big moments that are coming up in the game that I'm really excited for. So,
I mean, yeah, there's a small handful of times that I just got really emotional in the game, because of things that were happening. And again, it's not a game that does that story wise. I mean, I get emotional about Mass Effect because it's a good story and has good characters, but Mario Odyssey doesn't have a good story and doesn't have good character. So, but just the things they were able to do just with the gameplay and what you were doing in that particular moment, and the music and things just did a really good job. So
yeah,
that's enough about Mario Odyssey. It's great. I love it.
Cool. So a couple weeks now, or is it just 1 week into Destiny? How long have we been playing? A week and a half?
A couple of weeks.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that?
I love Destiny 2. It's unfortunate that it came out 3 days after Mario Odyssey, or 3 days before Mario Odyssey, excuse me. So you and I played it like hardcore 3 days in a row, and then we're like, we play it once since then.
Yeah, it's just I find myself with just lots of stuff to do during the weeknights, and so it's hard to get all three of us together.
Yeah, that's one thing we've promised the three of us that we won't play it unless the others are playing it too, at least until we finish the story content. So
Yeah,
trying to get us all together and play that is proving to be a bit difficult.
I imagine we'll probably finish the story stuff this week though, because I
Yeah.
imagine we'll probably have time either tonight or tomorrow or and Thursday. So
And then each of us can individually, grind until raid time.
yes,
I plan to get into PvP a bit more.
raid grinding.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to finish the story and do the strikes and raids and things like that, and then be there on day 1 or week 1 or whatever when expansions and new content come out, because that's something I didn't experience with Destiny 1. So
There you go.
that's a very good game. The core gameplay mechanics feel fantastic. As someone who loves Halo and has a long history of Halo, it definitely feels like a spiritual successor as far as the gunplay goes. So
Yeah. I wish, and I've said this, I don't know if I said this last week or not, but I wish that the classes felt more distinct, and I wish there were more choices to make. Because it's like,
yeah,
for my Titan, it's like, all right, do you want a tall shield or do you want a wide shield? Do you want to jump higher or do you want to jump directionally? And then what kind of grenade do you want? And then that's, I mean, like,
yeah,
and then you do 2 little specs or whatever beyond that. But it's in terms of, I mean, because I play a lot of MMOs, and so I compare them. I compare this game to like World of Warcraft and Star Wars, The Old Republic, and Guild Wars 2 and stuff like that. And it definitely lacks in customization, both in character creation and in ability choice. But it does allow them to more tightly balance PvP, which is good. And there was a lot of stuff I do like about it. The story is fun. The voice acting is great. The different levels are really fun. So it's not my perfect game, but I'm enjoying it.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah. So, anything else you're playing at the moment?
No, that's it. Like I said, Mario Odyssey all day, every day.
That's right.
Mario Odyssey is life.
No, not anymore.
I know, it's so sad it's over for me.
I know. I'm sorry. But I mean, just think of, you'll have that amazing memory forever.
And it's a game I'll play regularly, I think.
Nice.
I'll just start a new game and play it through. It'll become just part of that lineup of games I just go back and play a lot as like comfort food.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for me, I've still been playing Fallout, Destiny 2, obviously. I've been sampling Mario here and there. I'm trying not to get burned out on any one game, so I keep kind of jumping around a little bit. I've been playing a little Stellaris again tonight. I stopped doing the Star Trek mod and went back to the core game because they've added a bunch of stuff there. There's a synthetic game pack recently where you can play as a robot race from the beginning, which is pretty cool. And then they recently, if anyone else here plays Stellaris or is interested, they just announced a huge update coming. The thing I love about this game is that the developers are still making content. And there's no like, every now and then they'll do like a mini DLC pack that's like $10-$20 that adds a ton of content to it, like new races, new story mode stuff, and in-game quests or whatever. But a lot of their like big game improvements are free, and I love that. So they're changing the way that like the map works, and they're changing the way that the warp stuff works, and it's just like huge, massive changes are coming, and I'm really excited. So
very nice.
There's that, and then I have a confession to make.
Trent has died. We've lost him.
I resubbed to World of Warcraft the other night. I've been listening to this World of Warcraft podcast again that I love, and so they've been talking about all this Legion stuff and the Argus stuff that I haven't been able to do yet. And so I realized I was like 2 content patches behind in Legion, and so I want to go do all that story stuff. I never finished Suramar to begin with, so I'm going back and doing all that. Plus, they added a whole bunch of stuff for alts to make that quicker and more fun. And then BlizzCon happened, and we'll talk more about this later. But holy crap, I am hyped again because of the new cinematic that came out. I don't. I made you watch it. What'd you think?
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good cinematic. I mean, I don't have a lot of ties to the universe, so
Yeah.
probably get the same feelings as you did. But I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So
Yeah. Like when Sylvanas had her big moment, like as the Banshee Queen, I was like, oh my gosh, yes! Because my first character ever was an undead mage. He's a blood elf now, and he might become a Nightborn in the expansion. But I will always have an allegiance to the Dark Lady, as they call her in World of Warcraft. So I'm really excited for the next expansion. I can't wait to play it. So I'm playing WoW again. But I'm being
rest in peace, all other games.
no, I'm being good about it. I still play the other games. But like I said,
now.
I have a smorgasbord in front of me, and I sample here and there, and I jump around so that no one game gets frustrating.
Oh, there you go. It works. Tweets
Yeah.
their own.
Yes. So that's kind of what I'm playing. I'll jump straight into what I'm watching, if that's cool.
No, it's totally not cool.
Well, fine.
Now go ahead. I'm just kidding.
I know. So obviously CW shows I'm watching. I'm still really enjoying Legends of Tomorrow the most, which is just funny. This episode of The Flash was a little bit better. Barry still being a dick, but Cisco's side story was really funny and really good. It had to do with Gypsy, so that was cool. Star Trek is continuing to get better and better. I thought this week's episode was very classic Trek. They like beam down to a planet, weird stuff happens.
Yeah, it was very classic Trek.
I enjoyed that a lot. Orville is continuing to kick butt. There was a kids episode recently that I thought I was going to hate, and I liked it a lot. I mean, it wasn't the best episode of the season, but it was good still.
Ryan didn't like it.
I know, Ryan didn't like it. Ryan didn't like the children actors in that one.
They were just, I don't know if it was the actors, but just they were playing annoying kids. That was their purpose in the episode, was to be annoying kids. And I was like, okay, I'm done. No more. No more. I don't want this. Do not want.
But it brought so much funny moments out of Isaac, though, which I loved. So
yeah, I mean, there was a lot of funny ones. I thought they were about half funny, half cliche.
Yeah,
I think. So I don't know.
That's fair.
It wasn't a terrible episode, but I would say it's my least favorite of all the episodes so far.
Nice.
And it's only because they've set the bar so high.
It's true. It's very true. I was talking to a friend at work today. I was messaging someone at work today, and we were talking about the show, and I still loved that line when when the first officer's like, it's like, oh, there are families down there, and the pilot's like, there's probably a lot of single people too.
Yeah.
Like when they're like trying to rescue the planet or whatever.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, that's one of my favorite lines.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's and then obviously Thor 3.
Thor 3!
Holy crap.
Do you like it?
It was so good.
I loved it.
It was so good. I don't know. It's more fresh in my mind, so it's easier for me to say that's one of the best Marvel movies yet. But for a standalone single hero movie, it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was way good.
Like humor, action, like a little bit of suspense. I mean, I never really felt like anyone was really in trouble, so that part was lacking a little bit.
That's probably the film's biggest weakness. They're like, oh, Ragnarok, the end of days. And you're like, no, it's not.
Right. Like, I felt bad for all of the other Asgardians, but, like, I never worried about Thor.
No, sorry, I was going to say a spoiler. Well, I would consider it minor one, but I won't do anything. But
Yeah. Oh, and I loved some unexpected cameos. One unexpected cameo person was amazing, and then another Marvel hero had a partner in it that we all knew from a after credit scene, but I thought it was really good.
yeah. So
What'd you think?
I like the way the direction is going. I wish that I assumed this one would be the lead-in movie to Infinity War, going into it. Especially since at the end of Age of Ultron, Thor was like, "I'm gonna, there's these Infinity Stones. I'm gonna go like on a journey to look for them and see what's going on."
Right.
And then it's literally a throwaway line at the very beginning of the movie, like, "Yeah, I went looking for some Infinity Stones, didn't find any," and then he kind of just moves on to the next thing. So,
yeah, that was. I was like, okay, look, not even one, like.
Yeah.
But
and we're still missing a stone. I forgot which one, but there's one stone that's unaccounted for in the cinematic universe.
Yes.
So I assumed this was going to be it. So I guess it's either going to be Black Panther now, or they're just going to introduce a stone in Infinity War. So
I would not be surprised with either of those. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in Black Panther, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it was in like if I don't know, maybe Thanos gets it right off the beginning or something.
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't gotten a release trailer for Infinity War yet, and it's about that time. Wouldn't be surprised if it releases in December along with Star Wars.
Yeah, when's the release date?
May.
So the same as the Han Solo movie?
Yep, they're 2 weeks away from each other.
And we don't have a trailer for either of them.
Nope. I understand Han Solo movie because they don't want to distract any Force Awakens marketing that they have going on.
Yeah.
I imagine it will be released shortly after Last Jedi.
You think it's similar reasoning for like Black Panther and Thor,
I mean, maybe, but Marvel's always been good about advertising like 1 or 2 movies ahead still.
It also feels pretty suggestic for Marvel because that they're tied together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Especially since Infinity War is the culmination of the past 10 years of Marvel movies. Yeah. So you think they'd start that hype train up a little bit earlier, even with just teasers.
So I was reading a little bit more about Infinity War, and I know that Infinity War is no
comic
longer
or the
sorry,
movie?
the movie plans.
Okay.
And I know that it's no longer a 2-parter, but apparently, well, so it'll be its own unique like solo movie, but it's not going to be completely finished.
Yeah, I mean, I still think of it as a 2-parter that they just decide not to call part 1 and part 2.
Right.
But I think they're going to be directly off of each other.
Right. I think that they, I don't know, what was the comparison that I read? Crap. Now I'm going to blank on it.
I mean, it's not going to be like Back to the Future 2 and 3, combined like I think they originally planned. But I think it's going to be, the end of Infinity War Part 1 or whatever Avengers 3 is called, just Infinity War at this point. It's going to be like a unhappy ending that like Thanos wins, people are dead, and Avengers are bruised and broken and beaten. And then and then 4 is them picking up together and getting back together and defeating Thanos once and for all.
So what's he like? I mean, that brings up a weird point. Like, is he just going to win and then just leave? Or
no, he's just going to be the ruler of the universe or whatever. I think. I mean, here's a good comparison. It's going to be, instead of like being Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, like I said, it's going to be like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi kind of thing. The Empire wins in Empire Strikes Back. The rebels come back around.
Yes, that's true.
And this is due to some knowledge I have of the Infinity War events, the comic as well. So,
Cool. Well, I'm excited. Let's see what's going on. So, what else are you watching?
TJ's not here. He's not here to talk to me about The Leftovers because I finished The
I know.
Leftovers.
I'm very sad for you.
Yeah, we might have to have a continuation of this when he comes back. I didn't particularly enjoy the series. Season 3, I think, was probably the weakest of the 3 seasons and not the best thing to go off of. Best note to end on, I guess, is what I was trying to say there.
Yeah.
That being said, the finale was fine. It was pretty good, I would say, actually. It's funny, I was reading the Reddit comments on the finale, and the top comment was like, funny, that was probably the most straightforward episode of this entire show. Because the show is full of like symbolism and artistry and all this other stuff, but the finale was just kind of a straight up ending, of the journey a few of these characters have been on for several years now. So I liked that. It didn't go. I assumed it was going to end on a Lost note. Just be spoilers for the end of Lost. Just be like, oh, they were in purgatory the whole time. Now they're dead. The end. Like they had no idea how to write themselves out of it. It didn't go do that at all, and I actually really appreciated that. It still left a lot up to your imagination or for you to interpret things characters said or what happened on your own. But in my opinion, with the rules they established of the universe, including some supernatural elements of it, I decided to believe the more supernatural part of the explanation of certain events. So at least I have my own headcanon now for what happened. So and that's enough for me. And it makes it so I could look satisfactorily back. Is that even a word? Satisfactorily? There you go. Back at what?
Back with satisfaction.
Yeah, there we go. Even though I didn't particularly enjoy the series, I could look back on it in that matter. That at least didn't end with a whipper or with a like a lot of other shows do. So.
I mean, at least you finished. So I mean, it couldn't have been like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it wasn't Assassin's Creed or Greek.
Hey. Oh man.
I know.
Greek is so good.
Sure.
You don't understand.
I don't understand. To give you all listeners an idea of how bad I used to be as far as not being able to finish stuff, I hated Greek so much that I would still watch it, but I would put it at like 1.5 speed in VLC, so it would just go through it quicker to get done with it.
That's not watching it. You don't get any of the comedic timing that way.
Yeah, the timing's fine.
Your face is fine.
And I only did it for like the last half of the last season too, because I was like, I'm so done.
That's unfortunate. Oh, Greek. I haven't thought about Greek in a long time. I love that show.
You're welcome.
Thanks for spitting all over it and then handing it to me.
Man, I'm happy you enjoyed it.
I know.
Things can bring you joy in your life. Just like Mario Odyssey brought joy to me.
You must love what I love. This is the rule of nerddom. We will now fight. No, I'm just kidding.
It's true. We will do battle.
That's right. Alrighty. So I think that gets us to our news for the week.
Well, we just talked a lot about Mario Odyssey and Destiny, so let's talk a little bit more about Mario Odyssey and Destiny.
Let's do it.
So first up, just a bit of news about Mario Odyssey and its sales. We have its US and Japan sales right now. First, the US, that Mario Odyssey is the fastest selling Super Mario game ever in the United States. It has already sold 1.1 million units in the US alone.
Ooh.
And that's considering they only have a few million Switches out there. That's pretty considerable.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me by the end of the month, they have like a 95 to 100% attach rate from Switches to people who have Mario Odyssey.
Well, I mean, considering the number of people that I saw at Best Buy that were buying their Switch and Mario Odyssey, that would not surprise me at all.
Yep. And then Japan, which has not insignificant but not as nearly a large audience as the US does, they already sold over 500,000 units in the first 3 days of its release in Japan.
Amazing.
So it's worth it. It only needs to grow further. I can't be more happy for Mario Odyssey and its great sales. So moving on to Destiny 2, we don't know exact numbers for sales, but Activision gave us an interesting metric. Something that a lot of people were wondering that was when this is going to start happening, but over half of Destiny 2's console sales were digital downloads. Over half at this point. So it's safe to say that consoles are making a lot of progress when it comes to people just sticking with digital downloads, despite stiff competition. One of the few reasons I still buy physical copies for my console games are because of things like Amazon Prime's 20% off or the Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked that gets me 20% off games. It's just much easier to chew on when you spend $48 on a game versus $60.
Yep.
Especially if you buy like a collector's edition, because that's something I'm very used to on PC. As PC, it's rare that I ever pay more than $45 to $50 for a brand new game, just because there's a lot more places to buy PC games or buy keys for PC games, and so people have to be competitive themselves for cheaper. So that's why I typically stick to that 20% off on consoles, whereas the digital storefronts don't typically offer that. So, but even so, it's impressive that over half of Destiny 2's console sales are digital downloads. So
nice.
It'll be interesting to see how Sony and Microsoft, continue to make their storefront, better or more competitive to these programs like Amazon Prime and the Best Buy Gamers Club to get even more people in there. But so good for Destiny 2 and good for the console manufacturers for getting that in there.
Yep. That's pretty exciting. I mean, I think this is the writing's been on the wall for this for a long time. I think that the industry is doing pretty well at clinging to their physical media, but I think the future is coming.
The future is coming. Trent.
That's right.
A quote by Trent.
Quote me on it.
The future is coming.
I think it's really cool, though. I mean, I think digital is the way that we should be going. I've felt that way for a long time. So
here's a question for you. Whatever the next console generations are, whether they're PlayStation 5, Xbox 2, or whatever they want to call them, if there even is a new generation, if they don't just continue iterating on the same generation, with better hardware like the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X. But how long do you think, whether it is the next generation or an iteration, do you think that they do not have a disk drive in their console anymore?
I don't know. Someone's going to have to make the move to just decide to not do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll have to be at a point before it's, because half is pretty huge.
Yeah. But not nearly big enough to remove the disk drive.
No. What number would you think would be worth abandoning it? Like 10%?
I would say, yeah. I was about to say 85%. So
yeah, because you basically have to make it to the point where actually manufacturing the discs becomes not cost effective.
And then you have to think, like, even of those 15% or 10% who did buy the disc, how many of them could buy digitally? And just chose not to, like me.
Yeah. I definitely I think that you probably live in a little bit of a privilege bubble where we just assume that everyone has great internet and easy access to extra storage and whatever else you need to do all digital. Whereas I know a lot of people are still on pretty crappy, like out in the middle of nowhere who, if they didn't have physical copy, they probably wouldn't be able to play these games as easily.
Another thing to think of are just size limitations. The Xbox One X comes out tomorrow, I think, and so people are already able to download the Xbox One enhanced 4K versions of like a dozen or so games. They're like around 100 gigs each because they all have like 4K textures and.
Yeah, but I mean, the hard drives they've been putting in these are pathetic. Let's be honest. You can buy. Here, let me just go to Amazon and what is a what is a 1 terabyte solid state these days?
Oh, solid states? That's a little bit expensive still. But a normal terabyte or 2 terabytes are like $30 probably.
Oh, it's bringing me 2 computers and not the actual drives.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if consoles are going to get to solid states anytime soon, at least natively.
You get a terabyte solid state drive for $300. That is huge and super fast.
That's super expensive though for consoles.
I get it, but I mean, if you're mass producing a console, you could do it for cheaper because you can buy the hardware cost, and you don't really need a solid state, so you can get a 4 terabyte drive for the same price, probably.
Less than that. 4 terabytes aren't near 300.
Right. So I mean, 100 gigs is really not that much anymore. It's just that we're so used to consoles having tiny hard drives.
Yeah, it looks like you get 4 terabytes for less than $100.
I mean, they have SD cards that are 512 gigs now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the size of your fingernail. So
yeah.
Don't tell me there's not enough space in there for hard drive space.
Yeah. So that definitely needs to happen first.
Yeah. So I mean, they just need to, and it's going to be part of the transition. They haven't put in bigger hard drives yet because they didn't think they need them, and frankly, right now they don't need them. And they can always just put some USB drives on the back and say, if you want extra storage, buy it yourself.
And that's what Microsoft does, thankfully. The consoles are totally expandable, not internally, but via USB.
Yeah, and that's what I did with the Switch. I bought a 128 gig micro SD card and slapped it in there, and it's been more than enough for me so far. So,
kind of speaking of storage and the Switch, did you see that LA Noire is getting a Switch release, and it is too big to fit on any Switch internal memory?
No, that does not surprise me though.
Yep.
I mean, the what is the native? Is it 32?
I don't remember right offhand.
It's pretty small, so
even the cart version of the game requires like a 15 gigabyte patch or so.
Oh.
So don't buy LA Noire for the Switch. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how big, because I know 128.
Anyways.
No, it's not. I only played it for a little bit, and so
I finished it and I hated it. Add it to the list.
That wasn't worse than Assassin's Creed?
No.
Wow.
Assassin's Creed was worse.
Damn. But yeah, so like the Switch supports up to 256 gig SD cards right now, and I imagine that it's probably just a firmware update to get bigger at that point. So
hopefully, if not,
yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's fine. We're not gonna be playing any 4K Switch games anytime soon. So
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of sales and stuff, we didn't put this on here, but I saw this the other day. I thought that was really cool. Where did I have it open? Thor Ragnarok destroyed the box office this weekend.
What? A Marvel movie destroying the box office?
Oh, I mean, a standalone Thor movie destroying the box office is pretty big news.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Who'd have thunk better than 90% on Rotten Tomatoes would have an effect on box office?
I know, right? So it's interesting. The first movie was something like 65 million, and I think the second movie was like 90 million-ish. Don't quote me. But this one opened at 122.
Very nice.
Yes. So it almost doubled its original standalone entry, which for a sequel, like a reiteration of the same like franchise, that's really rare for subsequent movies in a franchise to get more and more successful.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if they could. Do you think this guarantees a Thor 4?
Maybe.
I mean,
we haven't seen them go. We haven't seen any standalone go past 3, so
it's true. Yet.
I think chances are good. A, because of its success. B, Chris Hemsworth seems to have a lot of fun in the Thor role, and I don't see him leaving it anytime soon. Option D, or reason D, is because I'm pretty sure after Avengers 4, both Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are going to be done.
Yeah.
And so I think they need to keep around at least one of the founding fathers or so of the Phase 1 MCU. So
it's a true story. And then just other unrelated, kind of related superhero box office numbers. Wonder Woman has surpassed Iron Man 3 and is now the fifth highest grossing superhero movie to date.
What's the 4 above it?
Number 4 is Dark Knight Rises. 3 is Age of Ultron. 2 is The Dark Knight, and 1 is The Avengers.
I hope it beats Dark Knight Rises.
I hope it does too.
Dark Knight Rises was not good.
It's about 36 million off still.
Did that movie come out in June? When
Yes,
did
it
Wonder
did.
Woman come out? Jeez.
June 2nd.
Man, still going.
Still going. I don't know if it can get another 36 million or not, but man, I'm so happy with how well it's done.
Yeah, me too. But superheroes don't sell, Trent.
I know, right? It just can't be done.
Oh, good for her. It's a good movie, and Wonder Woman, the character, deserves it, and Gal Gadot deserves the success surrounding it too.
Heck yeah. Show.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Speaking of Batman and Justice League and stuff, I hope this is true. I think that the way Danny Elfman spoke about this, it could be interpreted as true or not true, or just misjudging him or something like that. But Danny Elfman recently confirmed that he will bring back his classic Batman theme song for the Justice League. For those who don't know, that's the original 1989 Batman theme, the da-da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-da-da song. So, yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that song.
It's amazing.
And so even if they just have it a little bit in there, I will probably squee in my chair. Just like in the Power Ranger reboot this year, just that 10 seconds of "Go Go Power Rangers," they had it, and I was like, "Yee!" So if they do that in Justice League, I'll be very happy. So hopefully it's true. I think it's an uphill battle because that's just, I guess, a strange music choice. Because each Batman theme song has been associated with its franchise. Like the Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises has its own Batman theme. The Tim Burton and just original 4 Batman movies had their own theme, and even the classic John Williams Superman theme isn't the same thing as the Man of Steel Superman theme. So,
it did make a reappearance in Superman Returns.
It did, yeah, because Superman Returns was supposed to be a direct sequel,
right,
to those.
Yeah.
So it would. I don't want to say it would feel out of place because I don't think it would. I love that song. It could be played in any Batman movie for all I care. But I wonder if for a lot of people it would feel out of place or just not fit.
I imagine you'll probably just hear the theme being used in one of the overarching songs, when Batman's doing something cool.
Yeah, and that'd be totally okay with that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Gives us another reason to be excited for this movie, even since we're all just kind of on it right now.
Yeah.
It comes out in a week and a half.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Right?
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna see it too. It's just we'll see if, I don't know, just Batman v Superman hurt me, and then Suicide Squad destroyed me. So
I'm so gun shy about DC stuff. Wonder Woman was such a breath of fresh air, but I still don't trust them.
Yeah.
So,
especially since this is the director of Batman v Superman.
Partially.
Yeah. It just depends. It's a tricky situation for Joss Whedon because he said he wants to retain Zack Snyder's vision, but Joss Whedon makes great stuff.
Right.
And even so, Joss Whedon made Age of Ultron, which was okay. So
Right.
I don't know what to think, Trent.
Oh my gosh, that was the funniest part of Thor when they were making fun of stuff that happened in Ultron.
Yeah,
It's like sun's getting real low. Sun's
it's
getting
so
real
funny.
low. Like, stop saying that.
That
Oh
was
god,
awesome.
it's so funny. Okay, so there was a new Star Wars trailer thing. It's like a TV spot.
I got some beef with this.
Uh-oh.
So I was pretty much done after that last, the big trailer that came out at the beginning of October with, the ticket sales and everything. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to watch anything more. But all of the internet, all my social media, Facebook, Reddit, people just messaging me in particular was like, holy crap, Luke Skywalker's on the Millennium Falcon. Just from probably the only new shot in the entire trailer was that one shot. The rest of it, I believe, was just rehashes from old trailers. So I'm just like, fine. So I watched it. I was like, okay, cool. That one shot was in there. Cool. Right. That was totally worth blowing up about on the internet.
I think you can see a little bit more of Snoke's like throne room.
Oh yeah, that's true as well.
But yeah, nothing else is new.
So it's like I'm not ready to do a complete media black. What?
It still makes me excited though. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, still. Just I told myself like I'm done with like the not Force Awakens, the Last Jedi marketing, so to speak. Yeah. And it's not to the point where I need to go on complete social media blackout like I will like the week of. But it's like, can we just say like, hey, this is the new trailer, like not what's in it, because spoiling the trailer is not, I want to say just as bad as spoiling the movie because it's not, but
yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, it revealed a scene that you wouldn't have known about otherwise. So
yeah. So I mean, I could assume Luke's going to get on the Millennium Falcon at some point. It's only natural considering where it is, and
right.
But so
I think even more like of a big deal than the TV spot was actually the poster in the movie theaters themselves.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, should we talk about it?
Yeah, sure. I'm so scared. So scared, Trent.
So they have this light side, dark side, double paneled cardboard standee thing, which is like the big like this is the big Star Wars promotional material. And there's a light side, dark side, and Luke's on both sides.
On both sides. One is all like white and like optimistic looking. The other one, he has his hood on and he's like very like Sith evil looking.
Yeah, very creepy looking. And so of course the internet is like on fire with all the rumors about evil Luke and Luke.
As you don't know, the very first trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy, which is the very first books, extended universe books written, ended with a clone of Luke named Luke with 2 U's next to each other.
That's right.
The clone made off of the hand that he lost on Bespin.
Yep, the evil Luke with 2 U's. Luke.
So people are joking about that, but I'm scared, Trent. Like, as much as I love Star Wars and as much I'll probably love this movie no matter what they do. Like I've said it before, most people are Han Solo fans. I'm a Luke fan. Like I love his,
are you
never.
Luke fan?
No, I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
Yeah,
picking the dark side and that triumphant, end of Darth Vader and the Emperor at his hands. So.
Yeah, I'm worried too. Like, I mean, I love the extended universe where Luke was a badass. Like that's the Star Wars that I've always expected. It's the Star Wars that made the most sense coming out of the trilogy. But
yeah. I mean, that being said, I don't think that Brian Johnson and the story group and Kathleen Kennedy will not do that image, but I'm like, if not Last Jedi, I think the heroic triumphant Luke will return in episode 9.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand that they're in a tricky position because they want the new cast to like take center stage, but at the same time, like, you can't not have Luke be Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't want like pansy Luke. Like, I want you know, like, yeah,
Like
Jedi Master.
I want him to ignite his green lightsaber and kick ass at some point.
Yes, that's all I want. Because I'm probably not going to get it from Carrie Fisher, so I need to get it from Luke.
So I'm scared what will happen.
Me too.
Is the Darkness trilogy, like, isn't that him, like, kind of like embracing both light and dark?
Yeah, but it's kind of a weird time in the Star Wars universe.
It's kind of a weird time for Luke. He's going through some things.
Well, no, so it all actually started in the
New Jedi Order.
New Jedi Order stuff, where they were like fighting a race of beings that the Force didn't affect in the same way, and so they used every bit of the Force they could against these things. And so like there was this new kind of like Jedi mentality that, like, it doesn't matter what powers you're using, it just matters your intention and like what you're doing with them. Like, so if you kill a bad guy with Force lightning, like, you're still a good Jedi type thing.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of got back away from that again later, but
yeah. Again, I still think they're kind of going. There needs to be balance between light and dark is the real answer to everything. Because if you look at the prequel, the Sith were weak in their own ways, and the Jedi were weak in their own ways. And in fact, it was Luke, force choking Gamorrean guards in Return of the Jedi, right. And using the power of love with his dad to to destroy Darth Vader and the Emperor. And so
beautiful.
I know, thank you. Whereas love was forbidden, from the Jedi, and so I think that having a both, just a neutral or using both sides of the Force is where the show needs to go, or movie needs to go. I just hope that we get Hero Luke at some point.
Same.
We shall see, though.
Well, I mean, and just even the newest trailer thing, Snoke is saying like darkness rising and light and the light to meet it.
Yeah.
So he that whole thing has been about the two sides still. I mean, and that is Star Wars. I mean, if we're being honest, like, I don't think they can completely get away with moving away from light and dark completely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that has always been what Star Wars is. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So speaking of Star stuff, the Orville we talked about earlier, but it has been officially renewed for season 2 by Fox.
I am so happy about this and actually kind of surprised.
A sci-fi show on Fox lasted to a second season.
I know.
It actually happened.
Like, Fox is notorious for killing off their sci-fi series, and it finally did it.
Well, Orville deserves it. It's a fantastic show.
I agree.
Do we know if it has like a full 20-something episode order this season?
That I do not know.
Yeah, I hope so. So
I do too. I'm wondering how many for next season they're going to order as well.
I imagine since it got renewed this early, it'd be a full order for season 2.
That's fair. Looks like we are just having. Oh wow, it's a 10 episode order for season 1.
Oh, that's it.
So
or
we are actually
so far.
According to App Guides, that's all they've got.
Yeah, that could happen either way, though.
Yeah.
App Guides is basically a glorified wiki.
So far, it's slated to end on November 16th.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes.
But good for them. Not good for Westworld fans. That show premiered in 2016, and kind of like what they're talking about with Game of Thrones, we won't get another season for season 2 until the spring of 2018.
Yeah, what's that about? Is it like a writing problem? Is it a budget problem?
I don't think it's either problem. I think they're just kind of taking their time with it. They didn't expect it to be as big a hit as it was, and so, yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it. Is it something I should watch?
It's very good.
Okay.
It's definitely not Game of Thrones levels yet, but people are speculating that Westworld is going to be HBO's new Game of Thrones once Game of Thrones ends, so to speak, like their flagship good show. And I really enjoyed season 1. It's only like 7 or 8 episodes, I think, so easy to digest quickly.
That's fair.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Westworld, and I'm very excited for season 2.
See, Wikipedia has Orville announced out to 13 for the first season.
Yeah, sounds like nobody knows.
Right? But it's like, why would it? I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. I'll just keep watching it if they keep appearing on my queue. So
there you go. All right, do you want to talk about BlizzCon for a bit?
I do. I know you're not as excited about most of it because
Yeah.
I don't think you play any Blizzard games.
Not really, no.
You bought Overwatch.
I bought Overwatch. Haven't played it yet. It was on sale for $15, so I'm like, why not?
Yeah. And you had the box just saying on your coffee table for forever.
Yeah, because I bought a physical copy of a PC game because I'm crazy. That's okay. The box came with a code for me to redeem, and I got it from Best Buy with my discount, so that's all good.
Nice. So the biggest news, for me anyway, was the World of Warcraft trailer for the new expansion. And I think that, see, I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch, but I feel like World of Warcraft is still Blizzard's biggest thing. But I'd be curious now that I say that out loud to know the difference in like income from Overwatch and like Hearthstone and Heroes and whatnot.
Yeah, it's interesting because I imagine these days server costs are so tiny, especially for a game that's that old.
Oh yeah,
and so them charging the full
and they've
bucks a month.
They've digitized and combined so many of their servers now that like, and it's the way they do phasing and stuff is really cool.
And they still have millions of subscribers, so that's millions of people paying $15 a month still.
Yep. I know that they definitely dipped back down from the high, but I mean it always does.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to think.
Yeah,
but then you don't have the whales that Hearthstone and Overwatch bring in either. So
right. And I imagine Overwatch is probably the other one that would actually contend with it.
I don't think Overwatch comes close yet, but it may get there, after a few years.
I don't know. It depends on how many people are buying those loot boxes.
Or are you thinking of what's more profitable, like right now, like when they look back at Q3 this year, like which one brought in more money, or are you looking at, lifetime revenue?
Oh, I mean, lifetime is no question. That's
yeah.
I don't know if anything will ever match World of Warcraft for Blizzard's lifetime.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, they had a point. What did they ever top out? It was like 16 million or something.
I was thinking 13 or 14, but you probably know better than I do.
I'm pretty sure it was around 16 million subscribers at one point, each paying $15 a month.
Yeah.
So it's like
money.
Holy crap! And the funny thing is that I read. I mean, this is obvious. This was about a year or so ago, but there was an article on I think Forbes where they were talking about the monetary power of World of Warcraft, and they said that with like their paid services like server transfers, race changes, faction changes, things like that, and then like their pet and mount store and things like that, the game is actually the most profitable that it's ever been.
Yeah, I believe it. Like I said, I'm sure their costs are at an all-time lowish right now.
Yeah,
so.
It's ridiculous. And they just announced ramping up to this expansion. They hired a ton of new developers again. So
good.
Yeah, they're still going strong. I'm excited. So just to touch on a few other things, obviously, so WoW's getting the new expansion. World of Warcraft is also getting a WoW Classic option for some servers. I know that excites some people. I will never play on one, at least not more than a few minutes, because I like WoW better than it used. Like I think WoW is better today than it used to be.
Yeah.
But if it's something that makes you excited, then more power to you.
I don't play World of Warcraft. The only thing that makes me happy about it, besides the fact that some people want it and they can be happy now, but game preservation is something that's kind of been on my mind the past few years. For example, Destiny 1. At some point, Activision is going to turn off those servers, and Destiny 1 as a game will no longer exist.
Yep.
Period. And, for a lot of people who were the original vanilla World of Warcraft meant a lot to them, it was literally impossible for them to go back and play it. Like,
Yeah.
I could go back and play my favorite games. I could, no matter what happens in Mass Effect, I'll always have that original trilogy. I will always have Zelda Link to the Past to go back to. But for those who love vanilla WoW as it was, they can never go back to it. And so, I think...
this whole thing, the reason why it bugs me is that the whole thing is like rose-colored nostalgia, and even WoW Classic is not going to be vanilla WoW, because these players are... Well, I mean, are they gonna make them use all the low-res models? Are they going to make them like not have a dungeon or a raid finder anymore? Are they gonna have them not have pet battles? Are they gonna have them not have quest finder stuff? Like, are they going to have to use really old mods that don't exist anymore? Or are they going to have modern mod support? Like, there's no way that it is going to be exactly the way it was before. And I doubt anyone playing would really want to not have some of those quality of life improvements.
And yeah, you're right in that matter, but it's like, in my opinion, like a console game, like a remaster of it. Not a straight up remake, but something like the Uncharted trilogy on PlayStation 4. It runs at 60 frames a second at 1080p, crisper textures and stuff like that, but it's, the same game. And
yeah, but it's not just a graphical remake, though. I mean, there are new systems in place. Like, I bet they'll have phasing and all kinds of... I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, they're not even getting what they claim they want.
Well, I don't think people wanted to like not have a matchmaking or a dungeon finder. I don't know. I don't play World of Warcraft. I don't think they're like, oh, I want to play WoW when it didn't have that again. And so there's probably a few quality of life improvements that will remain.
That's what they say.
I don't know. I'm not involved in the WoW communities at all, but I just, for the very little I know about World of Warcraft, I just know that like you can't play the world as it was back then because of the Cataclysm. And so
It's true.
I think that's, speaking as someone who knows nothing, I think that is something that a lot of people want.
Right. And like I said, if people like it and they're happy about it, I am happy for them. I just don't see the appeal and don't see why. Like, I don't know. It seems like they're cheating and giving someone... I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying, but
that's okay. I think everybody wins with their announcements for World of Warcraft. For the few people who wanted that, they now have it. But for people like you who saw that new trailer for the new expansion, you're like, yes. So
there you go.
Everybody wins, except TJ.
Right, that's right. So some other BlizzCon announcements. Hearthstone is getting a new free single-player mode called Dungeon Run, which pits players against random bosses, unless that's a free thing that's coming in the next expansion. And then there's the next expansion is called Kobolds and Catacombs, which is I don't know what kind of cards that entails, but yay, Hearthstone. It's another game. That's a game I don't play anymore. Let's see. Here's the Storm's getting some new heroes. Overwatch is also getting a new hero, and they're getting a new map called Blizzard Park or Blizzard World or something like that. So basically, it's very meta. They're making Blizzard as a game company, and all of Blizzard's games exist in the world of Overwatch.
Huh. All right.
And we already knew that StarCraft did because I think it's Diva was a StarCraft, like a professional StarCraft player, and she's one of the characters in it.
Nice.
But then one of the matches is going to take place at this like kind of Disney World of Blizzard thing in the Overwatch world. So that'll be interesting.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Overwatch doesn't exist as a game. At least, I don't know. Maybe it does. We'll see. But
very meta.
StarCraft 2 will be free to play. If you Let's see. You'll be able to play the Wings of Liberty campaign in co-op mode for free. If you already owned Wings of Liberty, then you'll get Heart of the Swarm for free. I don't know about for people like me. If I have both, do I get the Zerg or the Protoss one for free? They haven't said. I'm guessing not. But that's pretty cool. If you want to jump into StarCraft, online play and stuff, that's pretty cool.
Only if you're crazy.
Yeah.
People are really good in that environment.
Yes, they are. I tried and I never got out of bronze because I'm terrible. So
And you're like 10 times better than I am, so.
Well, it's funny, like the game, it's just so different. Like I never got out of the turtling mindset, and so like I'm just terrible at RTS.
I do that too.
Like, competitive RTS. Whereas I have a friend, Josh. I don't know if you know Josh or not, but he was like platinum or something in StarCraft for a little
Oh,
bit,
jeez.
which was pretty amazing.
That's crazy.
I watched him play one time, and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Like the number of clicks and stuff is just insane. So, anyway, that's most of the big BlizzCon stuff for anybody. If you're more into Blizzard, and that you probably already know the rest of the stories anyway. So that's exciting.
You're exciting.
Thanks.
You know what else is exciting?
Speaking of exciting, The Sims 4 Pets expansion comes out very soon. And I'm really excited because I love the Pets expansions for Sims. I think it started with Sims 2, if I remember right.
Sims 2.
I always look forward to
Good
when my Sims can have cats, because cats.
You know, I'm a little crazy and I kind of want to just play Sims 1 again.
Oh, I watched a YouTube video of it the other day.
I'm sure it's terrible.
It does not look good anymore.
Yeah.
Even Sims 2 is starting to not age
I love
well.
the music in Sims 1, though.
Oh, man. That was the best part, though.
Yeah, like that.
I could listen to the Sims 1 soundtrack for forever.
I kind of do.
Do you really?
Yep. It's part of my long Uber playlist of music. I have like 10
Nice.
Sims 1 soundtrack songs in there.
I should add it to like one of my work playlists or something.
It's so good.
Very relaxing.
It is very relaxing. I love it. And Sims 2 and 3, I haven't played 4 yet, but their soundtracks didn't have as like big a punch to me.
Yeah. I like 4. I mean, the music's always good. Some of the more modern ones, like 3 and 4, have added in like modern songs, but like simified the lyrics.
Huh.
So it's like you've got "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me," but then they're singing it like The Sims, like "Uba duka laba do ah do ba," like just weird stuff like that, and it's really funny to listen to.
Trent speaks Simonian
That's right.
on this week's podcast.
I've played so many Sims games. I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent on Sims games. From the original until now, like it's probably over $1,000.
Not me. I got Live in Large expansion for the first one, the very first one, but I didn't buy any expansions for 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I just played vanilla.
I'm still really excited to see, because one of my favorite expansions for Sims 3 was the Supernatural one, and that's when they added because they already had vampires and they already kind of had werewolves, and so they upgraded both of those systems, and they added like the Fae and witches and wizards and like ghosts and things like that, and gave them all powers and stuff.
Yeah,
and that was actually pretty fun. And so I'm waiting for that to come back. But
I had to get the Live in Large expansion so I could have sex.
there you go.
You can have sex in the first Sims vanilla game.
Oh, that's right. You couldn't. And they added the woohoo.
They had the woohoo bed in the Live in Large expansion pack. I was like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, however old I was at the time. I had to have it.
Yeah, I made them have sex.
I made myself as a single bachelor, then I put a hot girl in every other single house on the street.
Of course you did.
I go in and make this hot girl? Can I make this hot girl? And she lives in this house, and she just lives on that lot right there. I don't even care. She's gonna come visit me.
The funny thing is,
Throw
you don't
parties.
actually have to do that anymore because they make random townspeople that you can interact with
Yeah, that's cool.
that live elsewhere.
Like I said, I
that you
have
can-
an itch. I need to play The Sims at some point.
That's right. But yeah, so The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs comes out November 9th, which is
Woo!
3 days from now. I'm super
Add it to
excited.
your pile of
Yep, my giant pile of games.
All right. Well, I
So-
think that does it for this week. Do I move over to a few more listener questions?
Let's do it. Let's go answer all of TK's questions.
Yeah, we asked for questions and he gave us like 8. So
And he was very mad last week that we didn't talk about them.
we talked about one.
I'm not gonna say I'm really mad, but
We talked about one.
he's like-
That was good enough.
he's like, "You didn't get to my questions, did you?" And I'm like, "No, when I'm next week."
Did he even listen to the podcast? We could have just said we did.
I don't know.
TJ, if you listen to the podcast, message one of us telling us you do. There we go.
TJ or
I'll sell
TK?
TK. Sorry. TJ, you listen anyways.
Just two.
Just kidding.
All right.
All right, so Mr. TK Shepard.
We did the old pixel art one, right? Already?
Yep.
Okay. So the next post is menus, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is not really a question.
Well,
so don't
I like
really
to talk
know
about.
how-
It's funny, like menus in a game are really important to me, so I kind of understand where he's coming from here. One thing that annoys the hell out of me is if a menu has any kind of like input lag, like there's like a complex animation when you like on a console hit the joystick over, and so it takes like a tenth of a second or a quarter of a second to like move a single option. So you're trying to like scroll down, but it doesn't move as fast as you could tap down,
Right.
Like that kind of stuff drives me nuts. Like I know like the Fable games, one of them at least had that problem to where like anytime you want to go through the option menu is like a very enchanting magic like kind of movement on the menu, and it just made the entire interface like super slow, and I just wanted to pull my hair out the entire time. So I feel
That's
menus
fair.
need to be quick and snappy and get that information.
Make it snappy.
Yep, get the information that we need there as quickly as possible. If you could put as much flash as you want, as long as it doesn't hurt the integrity of the usability of the menu, which a lot of games are bad at. So
For me, I don't like menus that are obviously designed for console and then don't port well to PC.
Yeah.
The Destiny map, for example, when you go into the map, it is super annoying to get it to scroll because for some reason the mouse doesn't really move that quickly across the screen in the map mode.
And the arrow keys and WASD doesn't scroll either, so you have to
Right.
like move the mouse side of the screen and let it move slowly as it scrolls around.
Right. And then it doesn't recenter on you either, which maybe that's a console and a PC problem. But like we were doing that story stuff the other day in the EDZ, and we were in the very upper left of the map. And every time I went to the map to look at stuff, I kept having to like drag the mouse into the upper left corner and then wait for it to drag the map up to the corner.
Yeah.
And it was like a 10-15 second process, and it was just really annoying.
Yeah.
So auto center your maps. And if you're gonna do a PC port, I mean, I'm not a programmer.
right.
I don't know how long it takes to change the menu, but there are games that do it, so it obviously isn't that hard. So please don't cut
Pretty
that
much.
particular corner because it drives me crazy. And it will make your game a 4-star game, in my opinion, instead of a 5.
Not a 4-star.
You know, right?
All right, well,
Bam.
next from TK, he simply says, storylines, too complex, too simple, just right. I definitely think that storylines can be too complex. I mean, many people will probably call me dense. I know even my friends have. But, like a game like Silent Hill 2, a much, much beloved game by many people, including TJ, like there's so many things I missed in that game, story-wise, just because it's more subtle than, I guess, my tiny brain is able to think about. And so a lot of it I just found boring, unfortunately. I'm sure TJ's like dying because I know he loves Silent Hill.
Silent Hill's dead, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, I mean, but TJ would be like, no, it's not too complex. That's just right for him. Whereas, it's not for me. I'd also point to a lot of like JRPGs. Like I think JRPGs used to be a little bit simpler in the SNES PS1 days, but now, even towards the end of the PS1 days, like I feel Final Fantasy VII is a pretty straight up story, but then you get to Final Fantasy VIII, and it's just like, what the heck's going on?
See, I thought 7's story was pretty convoluted, especially when you got to the end.
Yeah, to each their own. I could
Yeah.
explain 7's story really well, but I still can't explain 8's to this day. Like I know, like there's a witch, and she has time travel, and she goes, and she possesses someone in the future, and she possesses someone in the past, and she wants to squish time together from the past and the future. Like something like that. I mean, again,
You just pretty much explained it. So
it's been a while since I played it. I'm just like, okay, I mean, 7 is a bit simpler. It's just Sephiroth is a clone of an evil alien who wanted to take over the world, and he basically wants to follow in that alien's footsteps. Genova.
Is Cloud one of those clones too, though?
No.
No, I thought he was.
Cloud is just a normal boy from Nibelheim who wanted to become a soldier, like a super soldier, basically, but failed and became a normal soldier. But it was around the time Sephiroth realized his origins and went crazy, and then Cloud and Zack were captured by Hojo, who used Sephiroth cells to experiment on them to give them like abilities and powers. And it was during this time that Cloud's brain got a little messed up and kind of mixed with some of Zack's stories that he told him of his life, and so Cloud thought some of his own were some of Zack's. Some of the memories got mixed up. Basically, he thought some of Zack's history was his own.
Huh. Okay. I don't remember any of that. I mean, I played through it once, and then that was it, and that was like back in middle school. So it's been a bit. But yeah, I definitely don't defend Final Fantasy VIII on its story. I defend it on its good magic system. I liked it anyway.
I hated their magic system.
I thought it was so cool. Anyway, it's so much better than 9's magic system.
I enjoyed 9.
It's not as good as Materia. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
but
I enjoyed 8's system. I just didn't like how, like, if I wanted to go to a boss and I needed a bunch of heal spells, I needed to go like find a mob in a random battle system that I could absorb heals from.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't that hard.
It was just a chore.
And there were other systems to make it better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
it wasn't terrible. Like 8's not a terrible game by any means.
It's not too bad. And then it has the best airship of any of the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, I like the High Wind, but yeah,
Ragnarok
cool.
is amazing.
Ragnarok's very cool too.
Okay, so I don't know if we answered that well, if we just talked about Final Fantasy instead, but
well, his next question is perfect. He's much ado about character hairstyles. Cloud's hairstyle is pretty crazy, super spiky. Like he can stab someone with his hair.
As a fan of character customization and as a player of a role-playing game, I do like me some character hairstyle choices.
I'm the most boring person ever when it comes to like character creators. I kind of just do like my standard hair. Pretty much every time.
Oh man, it's like I'm one of those people that the meme fits, where it's like just like that guy sitting in front of the console is like, all right, I'm ready to start playing Skyrim. And then it's like this, like you see the sun go down in the background, and the moon comes up, and the moon goes down, and the sun comes up. He's like this beard, like scryly beard on his face. He's like, all right, I finished character creation. It's time to start the game.
Yep, that's totally not me. I use default Shepherd every time in Mass Effect, and if a game like Skyrim where you kind of forced to create someone, I was like, okay, and I choose a couple options and then go. Fallout, I use the default character. I played as female though.
Nice. I did blonde default female shepherd. So I just changed your hair color and style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, I like a lot of choices. Yeah, and then that answers that question.
His next thing he says is games that shifted your paradigm. I'll do a short answer because I've kind of talked about it before, but I was a Nintendo fanboy forever, until around 2002 or so, about a year or so after Halo's launch, and then I went to a friend's birthday party, and he had just a giant. He was a friend from out of town. I actually traveled like 3 or 4 hours to get to his house, and then spent the weekend with him. And so I hadn't really played Halo before, but he had a big 16-player, like on like 5 or 6 TVs strung throughout his house, Halo party, and we just played Halo LAN all night long. And we had several like good matches that were just super super fun, and it was one of my favorite gaming memories that I have as right now. And I was just like, holy crap, this game is awesome. And so I became a big Halo fan, and it opened my eyes to a lot more good games that are outside of the Nintendo ecosystem. So
there you go.
And Mario Odyssey.
There you go. Well, I mean, obviously there's like industry changing games, I think, that are pretty obvious, like Mario 64. One of the original Rogue Squadrons that was in 3D was just like, it just blew my mind.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
Grand Theft Auto 3 was huge in that way. I will say that Skyrim is a paradigm shifting game for me, but like it wasn't the game itself, but that was the around the same time that I kind of transitioned from having like from playing mostly on. Like I had my MMOs on the computer and like games like Civilization, and then I had everything else on the Xbox that I bought from you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Skyrim was right around the time where I bought it and Grand Theft Auto 5, eventually on both PC and Xbox. And that's when I made the transition to being a full-on just PC gamer, mostly at that point. And so Skyrim was something. Like that's why I'm like so mad at all these new Skyrim things. Like, no, I've already bought it twice. I'm not buying it anymore. Well, so that was one for me. In terms of like a story that really changed my paradigm, or that really made me like think about games in a different way, Heavy Rain will probably always be my number one for that.
Yeah.
Like it completely, like it was like watching and being in one of the most intense movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, like, and it was really, really short. Like you could probably beat the whole thing in like 5-6 hours, probably.
If you succeed.
Right.
You could fail that game.
And if you don't have a corrupt save file like I did.
Yeah.
But like, it was so, like, I'd always pitched that, like, games were interactive movies, but Heavy Rain was the first one that like just like blew my mind with how, like, I still have like vivid memories of that game. Like the scene where you have to cut off one of your fingers, the scene where he makes you like drive down the wrong way on a freeway when it's raining.
You were freaking out during the highway one.
Oh my god, it was so crazy, like so realistic, and like the controls were intuitive, and I love that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Like I call it my V for Vendetta of video games. Like It's just, I love it. It's great. So
did you watch that Detroit trailer from
I did.
week?
I think that is like my next, like, that game is gonna destroy me.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's hopefully so cool. How many different things can happen? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Again, I haven't played it, but the game that came out after Heavy Rain, but before this, Beyond Two Souls, it wasn't received as well. So
gotcha.
I still need to play it. I
is
have
it the same company that did Heavy Rain in Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, I'm excited. Oh, I'm excited. It's coming in for PC, right?
Nope.
What?
PS4 exclusive.
No. No. Okay, I'm buying a PS4.
You got Spider-Man and It coming out next year.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man wasn't enough. That just did it for sure. Oh, okay. I'm done.
All right, and his final question. How many is too many characters? That's a good question. I really think it depends on the game itself.
Are we talking about like playable characters, main characters?
It doesn't say.
Yeah, I know.
So like I think for like a fighting game, there's no such thing as too many characters. Like I love like just the giant roster that like the newer Smash Brothers have. Like
Yeah.
they could have 200 characters in a Smash Brothers game, but I would not care and I would love it.
Same.
As far as story goes, I think there is a point where there's too much. Forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but I love the first Chrono Trigger so much, and I heard about Chrono Cross on the PlayStation, a sequel to it. But like one of its selling points was like, again, I don't quite remember. I just remember the number being big. It was like you could have like over 100 party members, or like over 50 party members, or something like that. And even like as a teenager, I was like, what? Like, so just basically 50 different skins for people. Like I doubt any of these characters are going to have like any development whatsoever. Again, this is coming from a place of total ignorance. I never actually played it, because that turned me off to it, because people are like, yeah, you can just have like 1 billion party members in this game.
Huh.
So like I was like, no.
It kind of reminds me of an old RPG game I used to play. That was kind of like, I don't know if it was Dungeon Siege 2 maybe, but like you could like you had a party, and they would just all walk around with you, and you could recruit other people, and like you'd go into a dungeon together, and then you could like pause time and give orders to each of them,
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and like. But I had like 18 people in my party at one point. I feel like it was crazy.
Yeah. And then you get a game like Mass Effect. If we talk about comparing Mass Effect 2 and 3. In 2, you probably had double the amount of party members that you had in 3. But as far as like what you could do with each character and dialogue, like, besides like little snap off dialogue, you had the dialogue where you recruit this party member, and then they probably had like 4 or 5 discussions on Normandy, and then their loyalty mission, and that was kind of it for each character. Versus Mass Effect 3 had half as many characters. I think it only had like 5 or 6, maybe less if people died in previous Mass Effect games, but each of them were fleshed out a lot better. They had several conversations on the Normandy. Pretty much after every mission, you may not be able to talk to them directly, but they'd be hanging out on another part of the ship talking to someone else, and you could listen in on the conversation and get either funny jokes or just good insights and dialogue that happened between 2 other characters, not really just them talking to Shepard.
Yeah.
And so it just gave them a lot more opportunity to flesh out the handful of characters better than any other Mass Effect game in Mass Effect 3. So it's good and bad. It sucks because the party members who were main characters in 2, if people loved them better, they kind of got the shaft in 3, because then they showed up in like 1 or 2 dialogue scenes outside of the Normandy, since that's all. They didn't really have a strong presence in the main story. But then I think that's what made the Citadel DLC so great, because it pretty much gave every single side character that was still alive, side and main character that was still alive, an opportunity to shine in the Citadel DLC.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think didn't Mass Effect 2 even have like 2 DLC squad mates? Like, is it Kasumi and?
Yeah, Kasumi and the mercenary.
I forget his name.
Zahid.
Saeed, that's right. Yeah, I definitely, and that's another place where Andromeda really fell, in my opinion, was how fleshed out and developable. Is that a word?
I'm so mad about like how few conversation I was able to have with Vetra.
Yep.
And just how like ho hum the romance was.
Yep. Same with Gil.
Mm-hmm.
Like I should have gone with Reyes. His was so much better.
Yeah.
But oh well. Yeah. So I mean, it depends on the game type, obviously. You can have a great game with 1 character. You can have a great game with like 30.
Yeah.
Depends on.
Just make a good game.
That's right.
That's not hard, is it?
Apparently it's very hard. So you lied, though. I mean, that was not actually his last question.
It's true, but it wasn't gaming related.
I think we should do it just because it's funny.
All right, let's do it.
So this last question: Ryan versus Ryan. Which pronunciation is better, or should you just choose a different name?
I don't know who this Ryan is. My name is Rad Ryan. That's my full name.
Oh, bam! You just circumvented the whole thing.
Yep.
I think Ryan is a very underused and beautiful name.
Man, you can call me Ryan if you like.
All right. You're gonna be a Red Ryan next week. So So anyway, that's the end of our viewer questions. Thank you, TK, for giving us some more topics to talk about. Did we want to do a spoiler Thor discussion, or are we gonna?
We might do one separate, or we might wait for TJ because I know he really wanted to talk about it too. So
I like both those options. Either
So.
one is fine. So, pay attention, all of you fans. Am I taking us out now?
Yep.
Woohoo! So pay attention to the coming week. We might have a separate Thor spoiler cast, or maybe the end of next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter. Go to our website, briefnerdity.com.
social media.
Social media. We have an email at briefnerdy@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We love getting topics from you to talk about. So do so. And let us know if you disagree with us, if you like what we're talking about, if you think we should talk about something else, if we missed a huge news moment or a big, gaming or pop culture topic, and we will talk about it. So we hope to see you again next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Bye.
Bye.